I have a question. How many of you out there actually have a hurting heart? Or you know somebody who does? Or you have in the past? Wow, imagine that. That's every single person. It's the human condition. But what kills me is this lack of expression. So if in your closest relationships, you've got to dumb it down, you believe it's a sin or it's wrong to express your anger, I'm going to just stop you right there. I have seen in this very recent month so many relationships that are just on the verge of snapping. And I'm talking in the Christian realm as much as in the world. And I could get into the whole hierarchy of demons because that's exactly what it is, but I'm going to use my life as an example. Okay? This is my salvation story. And I was 15 years old, kicked out of my house. Adios, bye-bye. Like, letter of disownership, not to return, don't step foot on our front property. I've studied psychology and become a pastoral counselor just for the sake of trying to make sense of my crazy life. And I had to leave my birth family and go into the church to find a family that I thought was going to love and accept me. Not so. And when you look at psychology books and you look at the 7 different criteria of what can make somebody snap and not be the whole well-rounded adult they should be, I had 6 of those. Okay? So I speak from a very real reality. And when I was 19, I was not living well. I did not have a lot to be happy for. Wasn't proud of myself in any realm, but I was making it through by sheer anger. And I want to say that the people that you're closest to, if you've got to dumb down your expression of anything because it's going to be off-putting or it's going to easily offend somebody else, then I would question your walk with Jesus, because he's the one that we have to be honest with first and foremost. And that means if you can't express yourself to him freely, you got a problem. And I can talk to youth kids about this all day long. They're not allowed to express themselves. They can't talk back to a parent. And half the time the parents aren't even setting an example of Christ-like role modelship. So everybody wants to point the finger at everybody else. When I was 19, suddenly my stepbrother dies. Heroin overdose. He was 15. I haven't been allowed on the home front for 4 years. But we were all about appearances, so I came back for the funeral and I was devastated. He and I had survivorship. We had ways of coping in our crazy dysfunction at the home because we didn't know what was going to happen next. So I was the oldest girl and he was the only boy. I was never allowed to speak to him again when I got kicked out. So I come back for the funeral. Suddenly I'm the troubled child. I wasn't even a troubled child. I was the quiet person that didn't speak unless spoken to. You can run into people that knew me back then. They see me now and they're like, what happened? I'm like, I found Jesus. Yeah, he gave me my voice back. But I was that little mouse. I was that fearful, terrorized child. And still at 19 years old, I had all of this anger welling up inside of me. And after that funeral, I went home and I shook my fists at heaven. Some of you need to do this. I was like, if you're real, you better prove yourself. And I wasn't kind about it because I was in the world, hardcore. And I was like, F you, God. Some God you are. Some God you are who takes my brother. You got me kicked out. What kind of life have I lived? Look through all I've lived through. Themes of abuse, assaults, all these kinds of things. What is wrong with me that I have a mark on my forehead? How the hell could you create me if you hate me so much? And why was I even born? I went on a rant, and I'm known for that. But you know what? That's the relationship that I came into with my God. Because through that expression of anger and vulnerability and transparency, I was like, you better do something for me. Otherwise, I'm not serving you. Because I see crap in this world. I see people that say they love you and they hate themselves and they hate me. I'm like, I can't take any more rejection. I can't take any more pain. And I want to be swallowed up. And I feel like I am. And I don't know where you are. And let me tell you, that's the truth of what I see today. People are blaming God for every good, bad, and indifferent thing. He is not schizophrenic, my friends. So he is not, oh, I'm going to bless this person over here and I'm going to squash you like a bug. He's not, oh, I'm going to kill the 4-year-old in a car accident just for the sake of that family looking up and finding me. Do you know what that says? That says that people are calling lies truth and truth lies. The enemy is real. And for any of you Christians that think I'm wacky by cracky, turn it off right now. I'm not talking to you. Because the world needs to hear the message that the enemy is after them. He wants to steal, kill, and destroy. He's the one that's creating the problems. You got a headache? Evil. You got lying going on. You've got mischief. You've got adultery. You've got all this kind of crazy stuff going on in your relationships. Somewhere along the lines, somebody is believing a lie comes from the pit of hell. It ain't God. I tell you that. So why don't you express your anger to him? Why don't you say, hey, I'm fed up with this. I've been dealing with this. This guy's an addict, or this girl's an addict, and I can't do anything about it. And you're right, you can't. But you can take it to him. Because the lie will tell you that he wants you to suffer. That he actually he's placing you in like this incubator in the fiery furnace for the sake that you get burned. But that's exactly not what God does. What he does is he allows you to ask him to help you in the thick of your problem. And I've got a lot of friends who are like, well, if God's real, then what about this? And what about this? Hey, God's so real that he wants you to ask him about it. I don't have the answers. You have a right, though, to tell him you want to shake your fists at heaven and say, this is unfair. You're daggone right it's unfair. He would agree with you because injustice is the bane of his existence. That is why Jesus came, to justify us, because he knows we're going to screw up. He knows that we're going to be angry. He knows that we're going to be suicidal. He knows that we're going to be, liars. He knows this. And yet he still came to die on that cross because he actually gives a rip. And I'm telling you, kids get this. Kids are not going to be going to their parents or to churches to find truth. They're going to be going to themselves. And my generation, the parents, we have to own some stuff, okay? If you have not led your child in the ways of asking questions to you, how are they going to ask God any questions? And I would say to any of you, adults, I'm speaking to you, if you believe that you can't come to your Father in heaven in complete transparency and say, my life sucks right now, or I don't understand this, and I am having a struggle believing in you and trusting in you. If you cannot do that, let's back it up. Just ask him to come into your heart again and just make it right and say, hey, I want to be real. Because the reality of our relationships, the way that everybody's in this mode of you need to make me feel good, or I'm not going to talk to you about something deep, we're going to keep it really surface, that is a prophetic voice. It's a prophetic time that's being revealed in our natural atmosphere. Because the spirit realm is more real than what we see, touching us, okay? But if you can't come and be open and honest with the people that are closest to you, how are you ever going to do that with God? And kids get this, okay? Kids get that when they are not allowed to express themselves and they have all this built up anger inside of them and they have no outlet for it, they're going to find it elsewhere. They're going to go to drugs. They're going to go to sex. They're going to go to all kinds of things because they need an outlet. Their outlet should be God. Your outlet should be God. Your outlet should be, you know what? I'm not moving forward until I get clarity and an answer from you because I have too much angst. And I am learning now, my friends, that peace is our right. There is nothing in this world that says God's going to give you a snake and hope that you ask him for some bread and he'll trade out for it. No, he just wants you to come and say, hey, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I need, but it's not working. And salvation is just where it begins. Salvation first, great. Then you get delivered. Then you get delivered of whatever demon has kept you bound in the same themes throughout your whole life. And then your entire life is inner healing. It's not rocket science, but somehow we've twisted it. Somehow we've made it about a superficial relationship that you give me what I want and I'm good. And we're never good. It's never enough. We need to go deep, people. This is a time where deep revelation needs to be propelling us forward because those that can connect in the spirit realm, we're going to be leading other people, even other Christians, into the truth of the reality that they've got a purpose and call that they aren't even aware of yet. And that's going to be through expression. Be real. Be real, people. Let's just be real.